Hello, and if you don't know me, I'm Jonathan Bohr, and today in Blender we will be making this photorealistic marble. If you don't know about Blender, Blender is a 3D modeling and rendering software, and this is what we're going to be making. To start, let's make a new project, and we'll open up like this. Delete the default cube and light, and keep the camera. And I'm gonna set this to cycles. Okay, let's add a UV sphere, and we're going to shade it smooth. Go to camera view and set it to rendered view. And it doesn't look very pretty because there's no textures on it. So let's go into the shading editor and start. I'm quickly also going to set the world to white, makes it more visually appealing, and then I'm just going to close down all of these areas that I don't need. Done. Okay, let's add a new material by pressing new. Here we have our shader. This is a printable BFDS and has basically all the little things you need to dial around with a material. And to start, let's add some color using a noise texture. Add texture, noise texture. Let's also add a color ramp so we can get these colors right. Plug the factor into the factor of the color ramp, then the color into the base color. And you can see already we've got this kind of husky kind of noisy texture on it. It's not very, doesn't look very good. So let's change it. Let's add some blue. I like blue. I'll set this to blue. And now if we ramp this up, you can see the blue more clearly. If we put this, okay, so that's kind of what we want our marble to look like. Might also just turn down the scale. Maybe make it a, let's put it maybe a 2.5, and the detail, we'll probably want maybe a 3.5. Roughness set it to 0, and distortion, let me put it to 1.5. That sounds good. Here we have our marble texture. If you don't like how it's looking, you can change the color ramp sliders by clicking and dragging. I'm going to set it to maybe this. That looks good. Now, in a marbles kind of look a bit shiny, don't they? And so, to do this, you'll need to turn up the metallic property. That's going to make it reflect light. And it doesn't look like much has happened, mainly because you have this roughness texture, which also controls how much that is. So if you look now, you can see it's very, very shiny, almost unnaturally shiny. But what we want to do is have the shiny parts only on the white parts here, and not on the blue parts. So to do that, we'll plug the factor into the roughness. And now you can see it's working kind of. You can see it's a bit shiny, mainly on the blue, which is not good. No. So what we can do is we can swap the colors. We set this to white and set this to blue. Now the white part is shiny, and we can now do the opposite of what we did before, like that. Perfect. And if you want to make this more shiny, you can just add a math node. And now you can multiply to make that even shinier. That looks good. If you want it more or less shiny, you can always change this. I'm going to set that back to where it was, 0.5, and that looks good. Now, marbles have a general tend to be glass, and as most of you will know, glass is transparent, or at least translucent in some cases. So we want this marble to be transparent, so you can see through this part but not through this part. And so let's add another shader, a transparent BSDF, and let's see, if we just unplug this and plug this in, you'll be able to see, oh, something's not right. And we can't plug two at once. So if we add a mix shader, we can now mix both of those shaders together. Now you might be thinking, oh no, what's happened? Nothing's doing anything. Transparent isn't working. Well, that's because we're in shaded view, and if we go into rendered view, you can see there's kind of a bit damp, no, a bit muted color wise, which is because once we turn the background to white, now because of the transparent BSDF, now you can see the white background coming through the marble, and that is looking really good. Now if you want to turn up the factor for this, you can do so. If you want to turn it down, you can do this with the mix shader. I'm going to set it to somewhere around, let's go 4.5. Oh, maybe 0.45. Yeah, that looks good. And if you want to change this, you can change that. You can also change the color ramp and how much do you multiply the roughness by. Back, and here we have our marble. Now if you want to go a bit more advanced, you can change the blue to be non-transparent and the white to be by using the, I think, the color here, color there. And you can change that as well. Right, and there's our marble. And let's go back into layout. As you can see, I'm using cycles, and I think we should set up a render. Let's try by adding a plane Let's move it down. Okay. And then scale it up to be bigger than the camera view. And now we can quickly add a material to this. You can choose whatever color you like. If you like it blue, if you like it red, if you like it green. I think we should go red, because blue and green should never be seen. Go 100% red, 100% anything else, and camera view. And you can see here, the metallic and less roughness is doing its job, making this more metallic than this. Have this kind of line. And you can also see, you can almost see through the thing, the marble thing. And if you don't like this, you can also just change it back, and you'll be able to move around the sliders. Probably leave it like this. That looks good. That looks perfect. And now we can set up our render. If you don't have a massive, thick computer like me, I'm just using a HP laptop. You can probably set the max samples to something between 10 and probably 30 if you want it to be a quick render. And here we go, and let's press render image. And here we go, it's already going quite fast, rendering 10 samples. Done. Look at that. That is some nice, that's a nice marble. Now, I can also apply this texture to a different project. Here we go. Let's see this. Here's our texture. Let's see how it goes.